Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Welcome back to the channel. I am Professor Geek, and yeah, it looks like I'm coming through okay. So far, so good anyway. Nothing's muted. All right. Been a while since I streamed, actually. Well, been a while since I streamed solo anyway. Did the book studies for a while. But anyway, welcome to a very impromptu stream. As I was telling Sound Engraver tonight, I didn't even know if this was going to happen or not. I said I want to do a stream. But Saturday night is one of my precious few nights a week. Sometimes it's my only night a week where it's just introvert recharge time. If I have something that I have to do, like on Monday nights, I teach a live lecture for one of the courses I teach. And I have a lot of time before and after that lecture, but knowing I've got to be there at that certain time, that evening is not an introvert recharge night because I got to do something, you know? So I didn't want to schedule this stream ahead of time and then feel like I've got to do it. But I thought, well, all right, I've vegged a bit, had some dinner, had a nap. Time to hop on, see how far we go. No promises, but there were some things I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, that's what that is. My planner for my classes. There were some things I wanted to talk about. I actually been wanting to make videos of these things, and just time gets away from me. So one thing I guess to say at the beginning is that, you know, a month or so ago, I was doing videos practically every day, as close to every day as I could. That's pretty much my schedule's back on a teaching track now for the fall. I teach some over the summer, but not as much. And in the fall, it really hits me. So the days of daily uploads or even weekly uploads, sometimes that's not going to happen for a while now. Still going to hit content on the channel whenever I can. But I thought a stream at least would be good to kind of announce that and also sort of wrap up some loose ends. Like there was some anime stuff that I said I was going to check out and get back to you guys about, but I never did. So we can talk about that. And there were a couple of other things. But welcome to the chat there. See quite a few people here already, which is great to see. Who's it? Lindea was first. Welcome. Wrestler Dude, Gentle Savage, Danielle, Chris Damon, and of course, my dear Sound Engraver. Great to see you there. Slav, Final Fantasy fan. Awesome to see you there. Studio Super, and so many more. But great to see you all there. Leia Plus Size, just saw you pop in. Good evening. Yeah, so Owen Lister, hello. Yeah, so man, where did I start? Kind of low energy, but energy enough to stream and chat about things. I haven't done a proper video about the Tim Burton's Wednesday series coming up on Netflix. Now, I'm not somebody who follows, when I find out about something like that, I don't watch every little thing that's released. Because sometimes, I think they've released quite a few things for this series. They released a teaser trailer, but then they also released some interviews and some some little behind the scenes videos and stuff like that. I don't watch. Who has time? I'm not a news commentary channel, like one of those channels that, comes at you every day with this is the latest, guys, and here's this, and here's my take on this, Not really that kind of channel. But I did see the teaser trailer, and I saw another video, a little behind the scenes video. So yeah, if you don't know, I see Wrestler Dude asking what this is. A Tim Burton series on Netflix. Is it debuting in September or October? I think it's debuting in September. And it's going to be about Wednesday. It's going to be an Addams Family series, specifically about Wednesday. And I am so done with the summer. I named this stream Waiting for October. There's a great Polaris song, if you don't know. You guys know Polaris? Remember the old Nickelodeon show, Adventures of Pete and Pete? And they got this band. They kind of made them up as a fictional band, but they were real musicians from other bands called them Polaris. And they were the bands that played the songs for the show, and they were even in the show a couple of times. Great band, but they had the song Waiting for October, and every year it's part of my Halloween playlist, because right about now, every year, I'm just waiting for October. I hate summer. I hate everything about summer. I really do. It's not fun. I don't like walking outside my door and feeling like I'm being attacked, and it's oppressively hard to breathe. I live someplace where it's really humid. Hey, dry heat, great, bring it on. This humid nonsense, oh, it's gross. I just don't like summer. So many things about summer is just ugh. So I'm very glad that at least calendar wise, it's on the ebb. Where I live, it can kind of last longer or shorter depending on the year. But we've had a lot of rain this year, so maybe we'll have a nice summer. So yeah, Senator says I would love summer in Western Washington, but that great state is overrun by lunatics. Is Western Washington, that would still be humid though, wouldn't it? Or not? I don't know. But yeah, summer's just nasty. It's gross. It's disgusting. I'm over it. I'm already seeing those memes in the Facebook groups and whatever that I belong to for like I love fall or whatever. It's like I'm just ready for my scented candle, my my sweater, a good book, crackling fire, and the cool brisk breeze, outside. Oh yes, please. And of course, Halloween coming along. My birthday's in the fall. It's in September. So I'm pretty excited. Birthday's actually next week. So it's yet another year spinning around the world. Maybe I'll do a stream around then or something. I don't know. We'll see. I do have classes starting up. Just started for me Thursday, and I got this week, the coming week, is hitting the ground running with that. Anyway, got kind of sidetracked there. So the Netflix series, I think it's just called Wednesday. Is it just called Wednesday? But Tim Burton's behind it. Not only Tim Burton, though, but also Goff and Miller, if I'm pronouncing his name right. These are the producers who were behind Smallville. So, I heard it was announced ages ago, and I thought immediately, anytime I hear anything's announced, I think, big whoop, it's announced in today's climate, which means garbage. 99.99% chance it's going to be garbage because this is just the climate we're in now, But it had these names attached. Tim Burton. I mean, Tim Burton and Addams Family, that's kind of a match made in heaven. Tim Burton's one of my favorite. He directed some of my favorite movies, and he's kind of the director of my childhood, I mean, Edward Scissorhands, The Adventures of Pee-wee's Great Adventure, of course, Beetlejuice, all that kind of stuff. Ed Wood, of course, Batman, obviously. So it just, it was a really cool idea of him being a part of it. But I'll be the first to tell you, he's done some duds. He's not above, cranking out something that's like, what was that? So, it sounded interesting. The producers, again, being behind Smallville, sounded pretty cool. I like those guys. Of course, not everything they've done has been amazing either, necessarily. Smallville, wonderful as it was, it still suffered from that CW, WB, teeny bopper drama pacing sometimes, But so it's an interesting idea. I saw the trailer. The first trailer came out. Okay, the first trailer came out. I see wrestler dude saying Tim Burton hasn't had a good movie in like forever, though. I mean, I won't argue with you. I do, because I'm a Tim Burton fan, I still find some charm in like Dark Shadows and what was the one he did? I forget the one he did recently, but yeah, probably. He's just done so many great ones though. Yeah, the Alice in Wonderlands ones were weird. Like I said, Ed Wood, Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, Batman Returns, Big Fish. Of course, he produced and wrote Nightmare Before Christmas. What's the one I was just thinking of that I blanked on? Legend of Sleepy Hollow. I love that movie. I think that's such a fun movie. It's like a parody of slasher horror films. It's really fun. I actually teach that when I teach a class called The American Ghost Story. And one of the things we do in that class is we look at Legend of Sleepy Hollow. We read the original Robbie Burns poem that it was based on, the Scottish poem. Then we read Washington Irving's actual story, the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. We watch the Disney one, with Bing Crosby, and then we watch that Tim Burton one. We see the kind of track the progression of how these stories can stick around in a culture psyche, a society psyche for a long time, and be reincarnated in certain different ways, except for the basic seminal appeal is still there. What they do, what they mean to society is still there. So yeah, he hasn't been Mr. Great Director all that much recently. I get that, but he's not above me giving him a chance, all things considered. So I saw the trailer, and actually I'm going to come back to what I just said there about stories being kind of reincarnated through time. This is what mythology is. When it gets adapted, you can't adapt it away from its core, its central core meaning. Like you can't just, that's why people try to defend Superman's or Man of Steel, Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. No, it was a great movie. It's about him learning. No, Superman doesn't learn. You've altered the core DNA of the character there. You've taken him away from aspirational when you've made him just like every other character out there. He has to suffer and go through some stuff, and it's sad, man. And then they learn. No, it's every Nolan movie anyway. And he's got Zack Snyder's nihilism toppled on top of it. So you can't alter the core appeal. Well, what about Addams Family? You know, I talked kind of an aside when I was talking about Rob Zombie's Munsters film and the trailer that released for that. And I was saying that the Addams Family, unlike the Munsters, can be remade and appeal to a new audience at a different time, because it doesn't the basic pitch of it isn't based on cultural knowledge of the time like the Munsters was. You know, so like the Munsters, you kind of have to know who the Universal monsters are. You kind of have to know that. Then there's the idea of a parody of the somewhat of a parody, a little bit, of those kind of family comedies at the time, except they're going to be monsters, Universal monsters, and so forth. And stupid idiot kids today just don't know any of that. You know, like, what? You know, they think Dracula. They hear Dracula and they think sexy BBC guy or whatever. You know. Addams Family is different, though. The Addams Family, none of them are specifically supposed to be any one character from the monster world. They're just this kooky family. Now, they evoke, like Lurch certainly evokes Frankenstein's monster, and Morticia certainly looks like a Dracula's daughter kind of thing, but they're not actually those characters. So they're just that kooky, creepy family down the street, and that can be adapted for cultures at different times. So what would Tim Burton do? And it's a Netflix show. Netflix likes that woke agenda stuff. Are they going to play into that? Are they going to let it be a lot about that? Who knows? You know, so I saw the trailer. Come out first, and I thought, casting? I mean, that Ortega girl, I forget her first name, who's playing Wednesday. Yeah, great. Looks like Wednesday. Absolutely. Catherine Zeta-Jones is Morticia Addams. I never would have thought that, but heck yeah, I'm on board with that. And then the guy, Usman, I forget his first name, that they have is Gomez. A lot of people are saying a weird choice because a lot of people think Raul Julia, you know, is when they think Gomez. And some people might remember John Astin and love John Astin and love Raul Julia's take on Gomez. Heck, I even like Tim Curry, even though that movie wasn't very good, take on Gomez. But, you know, as other people have pointed out, Usman actually looks the most like the original Charles Addams cartoon strips of Gomez. So I don't mind giving him a chance as Gomez. My only concern is this, because he's a fine actor. I've seen him in plenty of things. I remember all the way back in the day when he was in Ghost. But my only concern is this. I don't see it readily apparent in the trailer. It might be there, you know, as the show develops, but I don't really see chemistry between him and Catherine Zeta-Jones as Morticia. And that will break the show in two from the very beginning. That'll crack the foundation wide open if your Gomez and your Morticia don't have a strong electric chemistry. Because the fact that those two, you know, that Gomez can't keep his hands off Morticia, that's kind of central to the characters, you know. And that's what's so funny about it. You know, they're the kooky, creepy family down the street, but the mom and dad love each other devotedly. You know, I mean, just they have a lot of wonderful qualities in that. They're supposed to be weird. They're supposed to be out there, and that can be adapted at any time. Okay. Now, maybe some of you know more about the show than I do, but I do know that, you know, it's going to follow Wednesday. Looks like, you know, okay, she's gotten in a lot of trouble at the other schools. Haha, that's funny. I like the little piranha scene there, you know, the boys swimming team. That was funny. As long as they don't actually have her, like, you know, murders on a rap sheet or something like that. But there's a fine line you walk with that. And Tim Burton, I expect him to kind of push that line a little bit because he's Tim Burton and this is no longer a 60s television show. But I like the idea. Okay, so now she's going to have to go to this school that apparently Gomez and Morticia met at, you know, so a school of more people of her kind are there. That's interesting, but it could be tricky. It's interesting because, okay, yeah, let's develop the lore, you know, because Addams Family started to do that even in the show when they brought in Cousin It and some family members and whatnot. In fact, if you stick around on my channel, if you remember that we did the book study of From Dusk Returned last October, Ray Bradbury, and I said how that was his version of the Addams Family, basically, because it was a short story he wrote of this creepy family, and Charles Addams did the illustrations for it, and they were going to work together on it, but they eventually, you know, things just went sideways, and Charles Addams ended up doing the Addams Family strip, and Ray Bradbury eventually wrote more stories about them, and it was really great. So if you don't really know much about the Addams Family, I think most people today will at least remember the '90s movies, which are so good. But if you don't, remember that, or even the great classic show, then if you watched our book study, that's pretty much what the Addams Family should be. That kind of spirit, anyway. So if the new series can explore the lore, go ahead and have other people like them there, but still keep that spirit. And part of that spirit is they have to be the kooky ones. They have to be the strange ones. So I do hope it's still them in a sort of a normal setting around them. If you put them in a community where everybody's kooky and everybody's, that might kill some of the magic, So I don't know, but it's just something that might be a concern, just something to watch for. I did see this one video, and it was they interviewed some of the people, and they interviewed the Ortega girl, and she was talking about, because she is of I think she's Latina. I don't know. The Addams Family are technically supposed to be Hispanic of some sort. I mean, Gomez is, supposed to be Hispanic of some sort. So the family does have that lineage, which is fine. The Ortega girl said, they are, canonically have a Hispanic background. So she was happy that she got to play it, being of somewhat of that background herself. And that's fine. Then they showed a little clip about, them talking about Dia de los Muertos. That's fine. Hey, the Addams Family, Dia de los Muertos, match made in heaven. But do not show me in this series, do not show me a Latin American family or a Hispanic family. I don't want to see, the Addams Family shouldn't have a Hispanic culture, just as much as they shouldn't have an American culture. They should have their Addams Family culture. That's the fun of them. They're creepy, they're kooky. I don't want to see them reflecting, in any kind of real way, a typical Hispanic family culture. I don't want to see that. That's nothing racist or whatever. I mean, my daughter's part Hispanic or part Latina, actually, but it's just about the Addams Family. The whole selling point of that show is their own culture is their own. You don't want to see them recognizable in any kind of one thing. But I don't really blame Ortega for saying that. That's what she said was fine and it was true. It's just in today's climate, you have to kind of anticipate all of the ways this thing could go sideways into the agenda and virtue signaling garbage, So I'm just, okay, well, she said that, fine, but just here's a pin in it to beware of this, in case it does go this way. The other thing that, or the only other thing that really concerned me or kind of ticked me off about that little video I saw, and you can find it on YouTube, it's just a sort of behind the scenes video. There's this girl, she's a new character. I don't know what her character is exactly. She's another student at the school there with Wednesday, and I can't quite tell if she's supposed to be sort of a opponent, a nemesis to Wednesday, or if she's supposed to be a if eventually becomes a friend. She's the one with like I can't remember now, the yellow cat eyes. She's got like contact lenses in. They're like cat or snake eyes or something. And they did a little interview with the question the actress playing her, and the actress said something like, Wednesday's so iconic. I mean, she's the girl that, she's not going to smile for you. She's going to be who she is. And I thought, oh, shut up. Shut your virtue signaling mouth right now. Shut up. No one wants to talk to you anymore. Prattle along. Pray you do a good job in your character because you've already got me against you in that. Do not try to make Wednesday Addams some kind of feminist hero. Okay, it's true. Wednesday Addams isn't going to smile for you. Obviously. Christina Ricci, perfect. I'm forgetting the girl's name who played her in the original series. Perfect. That's true. But the fact that Wednesday doesn't smile is not because she's a sister doing it for herself and she doesn't need no, that's stupid. The fact that Wednesday doesn't smile is because she's creepy and kooky and she's a little off and she's a little, she's the super goth, up to the 10th, 11th power or whatever. That's why she doesn't smile. Don't try and turn that around and make it a feminist propaganda. Yes, Wednesday doesn't smile and neither do we. Now it was just a small little comment. Could have just been some stupid idiot little actress spouting woke crap she thinks will get her, more jobs or whatever. But again, that's in today's climate, just something like that. Like, all right, this is another way it could go horribly wrong. So we'll see. I did see talking about the cast. I saw a picture of the guy playing Pugsley, and he looks pretty good. Don't even know anything about the actor. I don't think I saw him in the trailer. Did we see clips of him? Maybe, but I don't know if this is just a rumor. But I saw a little clickbait thing or whatever earlier today saying that Netflix was going to try and get Johnny Depp to play Uncle Fester. Now that'd be freaking worth watching. That'd be awesome. I never thought about Johnny Depp as Uncle Fester, but heck yeah, he could do that. He's one of the things I love about Johnny Depp's acting is he can always do those over the top, really characters, which is great. Oh, my dear sweet sound engraver, thank you for the $5 super chat. So would the Addams Family work in this modern era because their strangeness wouldn't contrast that much with the queer culture of today or gender deconstructed culture of the day or whatever? Good point, let's just say norm deconstructed, deconstructing norms culture of today. That's a good point. Another that's and that depends on how what stance Goff and Miller and Burton are coming at this from. Are they going to try and pander to the woke mobs and the agenda, virtue signalers and whatnot? If they are, then you're right. Addams Family is just going to kind of fall apart because you've got to say, hey, there are norms, and there are some people that don't obey the norms, and they get looked at strange, and that's just human nature, and it's fine. This nonsense now. Well, I want to identify as a lizard and walk down the street tonguing an electric outlet, and everybody just needs to say how brave I am. No, you're a freak. So you do need that premise for the Addams Family. So that's something I hadn't thought about. It's a good point. Now, if hopefully they just kind of fly in the face of that and do what they do. We'll see. So Johnny Depp would be great. I don't know. They haven't really announced a Fester or a Lurch, I don't think. Of course, you see Thing in the little trailer, which is fine. That's cool. I think she's going to be like a detective. She wants to be a writer. I don't know if she's a horror writer or wanting to be a detective writer or whatever, but she's kind of hunting down a serial killer or something like that, which could be fun. Could be a lot of fun. Looking forward to checking that out. I don't, as with anything today, no, I don't have an overwhelming sense of this is going to be good. Like I said before, I hate it when people today go, I'm cautiously optimistic for this, guys, because I just really like it to be good. But, I'm cautiously optimistic. You're not cautious at all. You're about to piss yourself. You're so excited. So I hate that when people talk about that. True cautious optimism. I don't really know if you can even have cautious and optimistic at the same time. I would like it to be good. Of course, I'd like it to be good. Because of the names involved, I will give it a chance, even though I still think in today's climate, just because it's the age we live in, the climate we live in, it's probably going to be garbage. Now, I hope that I'm wrong. I'm not going to it's not something like I haven't seen a deal breaker already. Like somebody was asking me what I thought of Dune. I know a lot of people keep trying to get me on the Dune train. No, I could care less about the Dune because as soon as they said that they race swapped kinds, then I'm not interested in it. Pass. I don't care. Don't care what you say about how wonderful and respected it. No, you don't race swap a character like that because that betrays a fundamental misunderstanding of one of the main base threads and themes of the Dune story, which is the tension between the masculine and feminine, the tension between the Bene Gesserits and the Spacing Guild, the tension between the Fremen living off the land there and that very masculine energy. I mean, the makers, the Dune, the worms, the sandworms of Dune are these large phallic symbols, penetrating the earth and creating spice. They're fertile, and then you've got the feminine energies trying to manipulate and twirl around, so you don't just go race swapping, in a movie like that. So I didn't see a deal breaker like that though in anything related to the Addams Family yet. A few things people said, which is like, gonna watch out for that and see, but no fundamental deal breaker yet. So yeah, I hope it's awesome. Like to watch it. Now I say that because a lot of people would want to know, I saw Dr. Y. Geez, Prof, TMI on the Dune stuff. Well, hey, a lot of people will hear me say that and think, oh, yeah, come on, Prof, whatever. No, Frank Herbert was a Jungian. He studied under a psychoanalyst couple who studied under Carl Jung, and he himself practiced as a psychoanalyst. So he was a Jungian through and through. And you can't read Dune and pretend that didn't make it into the book. It absolutely did. And that includes things like phallic symbols and anti-phallic symbols and all this kind of stuff, especially masculine, feminine, the Jungian, bisexual, and so forth. I mean, it's in there. You can't say it's not. Now, I mean, you can read it at whatever level you want to read it. But yeah, but sorry if it hit you guys off out of the blue, unprepared. So I hadn't thought about kind of giving my response to the Addams Family, because I don't necessarily respond to everything. I think I got a comment the other day. I don't know if they were joking or not, but I think it probably was real. Somebody saw my video I made on the Rings of Power, and they were like, dude, where are your She-Hulk videos? Like, okay, you're against Rings of Power. What you need to, or what about all these other channels are talking about She-Hulk too? Where are your She-Hulk videos? I'm not one of those other channels. Of course, I loathe everything that even remotely is associated with that garbage She-Hulk series. But I'm not one of those channels that, all right, here's my angry spout up about this. I don't make a channel or a video unless I have something to say. So I did think about something that was interesting, and I'm still kind of thinking it through, but it pertained to the Addams Family, and I was going to make a video about it. But then I thought, well, if I made a video about it, people would see the thumbnail and they'd come to it ultimately thinking it was going to be my take on the Addams Family. So I thought, well, let me go ahead and just get it out of the way first. This is my take on the Addams Family. So I might just cut this part out and make it its own video. The other thing that I wanted, the thing that occurred to me about the Addams Family, and I haven't really had the time to really formulate all of this and think it through. So I'm going to kind of think it through together with you guys, and you can tell me what you think. But it's so sad how we have absolutely lost touch with culture. There are a number of reasons. One reason, of course, is the woke ideologues. The extreme leftist ideology wants to remake our culture, remake our society into a socialist, if not straight up communist society. Used to be you were a conspiracy theorist if you dared say that. No, that's just pretty much a given now. People will even admit that. That's absolutely what they want. And the playbook for that is if you want to fundamentally alter a society, especially into a socialist or communist framework, then you have to go in and destroy their culture first. You can't hang something like socialism or communism over a pre-established culture. You have to destroy that culture. And that's one of the ways they're doing, by going through every IP out there and trying to remake it, fundamentally remake it from the ground up. This is why I have no patience at all for these people who are like, well, I can just see the good stuff in it. I can see the good. Where was the good in the Holocaust then? Tell me that. I hate that stupid mindset. Because you can see what people are doing. It's a culture war. There's a war. She-Hulk is a straight up war on culture. And people are just like, that's an extreme version. Rings of Power is extreme, but it still exists in other things too. But as soon as I start mentioning something that people kind of like, then, oh, no, but that one's actually really good. I kind of like that one, so I don't want to agree with you on that one. Either fight or don't fight. Stop running around saying, I like that battle, but not that one. I got kind of off track there. I went down a rabbit hole with that. But they do try to fundamentally alter culture. And one of the ways they do that is so that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of why we are so out of touch with our own culture today might have some connections to that, but it's the fact that the next generation today, like people who would be my students today, I've talked about it before. They don't have the attention spans. They're not aware of anything that didn't happen 10 minutes ago and only lasted for about 15 seconds. If it happened within 10 minutes ago and it only required about 15 seconds of their attention span, then they're aware of it. But they don't know. I'll give you an example of how much has changed. When the 90s Addams Family movie came out, when did that first one come out? Was it 90 or 92 or something like that? I lose track of the dates. I know somebody will look it up there. I remember I had never watched the Addams Family show at that point. No, I did. I liked watching Nick at Night back when they actually played classic TV. I liked all stuff like that. But I'd never watched the Addams Family show, and I saw the previews, the trailers for this movie, The Addams Family, and it looked fun. Creepy, kooky. I loved Halloween stuff. It looked fun. So I got interested in it, and one of the things I did to get interested in it was go back, 1992. Thank you, Final Fantasy fan. So I would have been like 11 or 12. One of the things I did was go back and watch the original show, caught reruns whenever I could, and I loved it. And I didn't see any. Obviously, that's in black and white. It's played more for laughs and whatnot. So was the movies played for laughs, but it was a kookier style humor than say the movies were. And I didn't see any disparity between the two of those because, okay, yeah, it's still the same thing. It's still that. And I went and got I remember for Christmas, I got a collection of the Addams Family cartoons, the original Charles Addams. Went through, read them, thought they were great, wonderful. I was drawing the characters, and it was. I thought, okay, this thing called the Addams Family is coming out. It looks like something I'm going to enjoy. I want to know the roots of it. I want to know the incarnations of its past, and I think that was more common back in that day, not for everybody, but when, Batman, 89 Batman came out, uh, just the buzz about the movie got me incredibly excited for it. I remember they started playing reruns of Batman 66, which I watched every episode I possibly could and loved it, knowing that this was obviously a very different Batman than the take we were going to get in Tim Burton's film. But I still saw the seminal center of the character there. A hero, a detective hero who fights for the good, and whatnot. I was reading the comics, any comics. It didn't matter if they were, people were, once I was getting into comics at that point, because it was one of the ways I was really learning and getting hooked on reading. It was, people were just giving me any comics they had, and, when they grew up or whatever. So I would get comics from all kinds of eras of Batman and just ate it all up. Loved it. I didn't see any, break in that, because it was still, the center of the character was still there. And a lot of my friends who were into Batman were doing that as well. I couldn't imagine somebody's from today's generation doing that. Most of the people, I think, at least the younger people who are going to watch the Tim Burton's Wednesday series, are not going to have a clue, even about the 90s films, because that was just so long ago. Oh, I mean, it's just, and I know that, every person, when they get older, I'm in my 40s, every person's like, oh, what is this generation coming to? I get that, but I do think we can see a greater change right now, a greater break in a society's grasp of their own culture right now than we've ever had before. Blame it on technology, blame it on the ideologues, blame it on just the shrinking attention spans, whatever. But it's a real issue. It's a real problem. So what are the consequences of that? Well, I mean, for the ideologues actually wanting to remake something, there's a consequence you play into their hands. But the consequences of that are the new iterations that you receive of these myths don't actually have that core center of the characters or of the story of the myth in place anymore. People are now thinking that I can do any version of anything. Let's do an Addams Family cartoon, but they're chickens. No, that is stupid. Well, yeah, it's just another version. This is what I'm always going up against. People, don't understand Superman, or are trying to, argue that the DC Snyderverse or whatever is real. Like, no, it's not. That's a fundamentally It's built on a fundamental misunderstanding of who these characters and what that universe is. It's not just another version. It's that core seminal center of the character in the myth is gone. That's what it's like. That's the. I'm not saying that Tim Burton's Addams Family is going to be like this, but it could. That's the consequence when we're out of touch with our culture. Do people even know, people in the United States, do you even know about the history anymore? The average person on the street doesn't even know what kind of government style we have. Now, granted, our politicians are drastically trying to change that government style every second of the way. But again, we're just living in such a it's not even about changing. I mean, a lot of different forces in our culture are trying to change it this way or another. But the real problem is that we've just lost that sense of our foundation, of our cultural roots, and it's tragic. It used to be that you could have a new version, quote unquote, of a character like Superman or He-Man or whatever, but everybody knew that archetype, if it was strong enough, what it should be and what it should stand for. I mean, it's not even remotely beyond the pale now for us to say, or Hollywood to announce that they're going to do a G.I. Joe movie, but it's about a Vietnam vet. And, he and Scarlet and Snake Eyes and everything like that, they're tired of the American lies and blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's fundamentally not what the whole point of G.I. Joe was. A positive, view of the American way and the American fight and so forth. But that's just the kind of culturalist drifting time we live in, which is just so bizarre and so sad. And you can't talk to these students. You can't, I've said before, when you try and show movies or whatever, or I try and show movies in class, movie, it's going to be so long. It's like, and I see them before class scrolling their TikTok. Scroll. Like, that's literally what they have attention spans for. And, man, God help our culture today. It's just insane. Let me get to this super chat from Andres Hernandez. Thank you so much, dude, for the $5 super chat. says, as a college professor, does it surprise you when you meet a younger person who doesn't like much of the new Star Wars or Marvel stuff? I do meet them from time to time. So I'm speaking in generalities. Of course, I know there are exceptions. I've met exceptions, either in my class or on my channel here and whatnot. I know there are exceptions, and that's great. It's great, but there are far too few exceptions to affect any change right now. I'm not trying to be all doom and gloom. I think, there's always a way out, but it's, I don't know exactly what it is. I mean, something will have to come out for people to get really excited about. I saw a video clip, and I'll move on to the anime stuff in a second because I don't want to go too long with this. But I saw a video clip where it was actually someone was talking to Vanilla Ice. Remember Vanilla Ice from the 90s? And they were asking him, why are people so into the 90s still? Because there's still even with young kids, there's still this retro kind of 90s thing, wanting to wear Nirvana shirts and Air Jordans and stuff like that. And he was saying it's because he says it was one of the last time periods. I don't know if that's technically true. I think you could maybe make an argument for the early 2000s kind of being like this too. I don't know, though. I'm not really trying to make the argument one way or the other. But he said that the 90s were one of the last time periods in which you actually had a culture. There was actually something in style, like Air Jordans came out and everybody wanted to go get it. A band came out and everybody liked to listen to it, or, they had their band versus this band. Movies came out and they hit the theater and everybody wanted to go see them, and they really, spoke to the culture for that time period or whatever. We just don't have that anymore culturally because part of it, again, is the ideologues trying to break down, no, there's no such thing as something that's popular or something that's in. You be you and you're already amazing as long as you're not a white straight male. But the other part of it is the technology, has got us more segmented and separated, which I say that lightly because I kind of like that aspect to a certain degree as a crazy strong introvert. But we don't have as much bringing us together culturally speaking, unless it's in sort of niche groups, the big tentpole films or series are coming out are more divisive than anything else. We don't have anything, like I'm trying to think what was probably the last movie to really just kind of sweep, was sort of, really most everybody liked it, and it really just kind of swept the shelves of the stores. Probably the Avengers, probably Marvel's the 2012 The Avengers, I would imagine. Maybe there's something I'm missing, but I don't think there's been anything like that since then, that's 10 years ago, Wow, crazy to think that's 10 years ago. It's crazy. But anyway, so yeah, we're missing culture. Kids are missing culture. There's this wonderful memes that talk about how you don't get to wear a band's t-shirt if you can't even tell me one of their songs, or you don't even know anything about that band. No, you don't get to wear the Aerosmith or Nirvana t-shirt because you think it just sort of looks cool. No, take that off right now, or I will burn it off of you. David Lore's talking about the Top Gun movie. Yeah, but again, the Top Gun movie is playing on nostalgia for a previous time's culture. But yeah, something like that can still happen. So, we can still say more about this if you want. I am jumping topics rather abruptly, but I do want to get this in before I totally run out of steam. So just because I'm jumping topics right now, it doesn't mean that we can't come back to this. Somebody has a comment or whatever, or chat that, brings it up, but I have been promising to get back to update you on some of my anime journey, because I was, getting into a lot of anime this week, or this summer rather. And I think the last Naruto season I left off was 3, I think. I'm actually in the middle of season 5 now. Still loving it. Again, the pacing's kind of ridiculous, which I understand that was different with anime back then. So thankful that I can just watch it on a streaming service right now where I can say click intro, which isn't just the intro song. It's also like the first 15 minutes of the episode that tries to recap the last episode before you get like 10 minutes of the story progressing, but thankfully I can just skip all of that. But the story, I'm loving it. I really liked the season 3 arc of going to find Tsunade and making her the new Hokage. We had Naruto going from Kakashi Sensei, who was a father figure, to hanging out with Jiraiya, or the pervy sage as he called him, who was kind of more of a grandfather figure, and learned wonderful new stuff from Jiraiya, really cool character, and then being introduced to Tsunade, or as he calls her Grandma Tsunade. She's very much, even though he calls her Grandma Tsunade, she's supposed to be Drives me crazy. Like, oh, she's an old woman. She's like 50. Like, she's not all that old, guys. I'm in my 40s right now. But that, of course, anybody over 30 to a kid is ancient. But Tsunade uses her chakra or jitsu or whatever to make herself, appear younger. And she's very much a motherly character or figure for him. Not just the unconditional love at all times. She's a tough mother, no pun intended. But I like her character coming in and her feminine energy coming into the show, especially as a Hokage of the Leaf Village. That's pretty cool. Season 3 ended with a little arc where they went on a mission, try and help this guy that race and stuff like that. Cool story. It was a little too close to like the similar missions they've gone on where they're trying to help an underdog and so forth and whatnot, but still fun. Great. Season 5 is open now with now I did miss the movie. I know there's a first movie that comes between season 4 and season 5, which I'm going to go back and watch. I've got access to it, but I'm already in the middle of this arc now where they're trying to bring Sasuke back from he's trying to go to Orochimaru and whatnot. So Naruto's trying to save him from that. I want to finish that arc before I go back and watch that movie. Then I think I got another movie to watch. But really enjoying that. Loving it still. So having a lot of fun with that. It really, I'm enjoying it so much that it made me go back and start rewatching My Hero Academia. And I just glory in My Hero Academia. It's so wonderful. Oh, I just love it so much. I know a lot of people are saying, you gotta stop watching that shonen. And yeah, I'm saying shonen anime. Get over yourselves. I know shonen's not a genre. Shonen's Jim Grant. Whatever. You know what I mean. I don't know what else to call it. Anime made for that shonen style. So get over yourself. Shonen anime. I just prefer that 1,000 times over any other kind. Not that I don't like some other kind. I've watched some other shows. I've talked about Psycho-Pass. We'll get to that in a second. But man, just a good shonen when it's done with heart and everything. It's so good. And My Hero Academia is great. So I am trying to progress back into that because I'm way, way, way behind. I'll probably talk about that in another video or something another day. Some of those other shows, though, Psycho-Pass, I'd done the last video on season 1. And I said I was going to go ahead and watch season 2 and the movie. Coincidentally, they just released the other day that they're doing another movie. And a lot of people were warning me, season 2 is not very good. And I was kind of scared. It was like, was season 2 going to be like I don't know, a bunch of agenda stuff or something? What is it? And I like season 2. Now, it wasn't the wonderful quality of season 1 of Psycho-Pass, but it didn't have as many episodes. I think that's one problem with season 2 of Psycho-Pass. It didn't get to make the story breathe. You had an interesting antagonist. No one's really going to match the antagonist of the season 1, but it had an interesting antagonist, and they could have done it more justice if they had more episodes in the season to fill it out a little bit. They also kind of dropped the ball on the neo-noir. They went full-blown cyberpunk, which is fine. Not bad, but I was really drawn to the neo-noir aspect of season 1. The movie was a good story. I like the fact that I'm blanking on the detective's name. So many Japanese names rolling around in my head. I forget his name, Mr. Togaku. Oh, shoot. What is his name? Kogo? Kamaki? I don't know. Something like that. The detective that used to be an inspector that became an enforcer that the main character kind of had a connection with in that first season. They do go back to him, find out what he's been doing. That was good to revisit him. But you left Japan altogether and you went to like this third world country style, Asian country or whatever. And it even got farther away from neo-noir, at least that kind of hard-boiled detective neo-noir that I liked from the first season. So it took me a while to get through that movie, actually. I just kind of do it in increments. Not because it was badly done. I just wasn't as interested in it. I'm hoping the new movie gets back to that. I'll give that a try. There's one more anime that I watched, which I probably shouldn't admit. It's really well written. I really enjoyed the story. The problem is, and it's an older anime, and it's limited. They cut it off at a certain point. The guy who wrote the manga is even dead now, so I don't think we'll get any more. But it was really done. Now, I don't usually like zombie stories or post-apocalyptic stories. Nothing against them. They're just not to my taste. But somebody said this one was actually pretty interesting because of some of the themes, because it uses some young people and stuff like that. So heaven help me, I watched High School of the Dead. Now, if you know anything about High School of the Dead, you know it's kind of got a reputation as a joke show because it's so gratuitous. It's ridiculous. Like if a breeze slightly blows across the scene, you know, all the girls' skirts rise up and you see their underwear or whatever. It's so silly, Japanese ridiculous. It's not straight up like hentai or anything. You don't see like, you know, people having sex or anything like that. It's just and it strikes me as so strange. Like, why would they do that? If when the story's actually not that, the story's actually well written and moving forward, and it's really engaging characters and it really goes through. But just the like, you can look up some of the gifs or whatever. It's insane. It's insane. Some of the how gratuitous it was, but the story is actually really solid. And gratuitous, I'm saying, you know, it's not, again, there's no like sexual, you know, acts being displayed or whatever. It's just like if a girl is just barely walking, you know, her boobs are going to jiggle, you know, it's just like, you know, in her shirt, obviously. But it's just that ridiculously gratuitous, which strikes me as weird because this is Japan. I mean, you know, they've got their own field of like, you know, pornographic anime material out there. What maybe Japan is just a different culture, but what Japanese child can have access to something like High School of the Dead, but not just the straight up anime porn or something, you know? I mean, so I don't know. It's a weird choice to make, but the story was really solid. I love the characters. I'm not usually drawn to that kind of zombie like apocalypse story, but I like the way they did it. I like the idea that you've got these teenagers figuring out who they are, you know, at that point in your life where you're trying to figure out who they are. You also got the pressure of Japan, you know, of succeeding and doing well and stuff like that. Suddenly the floor drops out from under them. Absolutely, because now what were they even in school for? What are they even studying for? Are they even going to be alive tomorrow? The institutions around them are falling down because of the zombie apocalypse. So you see the stereotypes among them start to crumble. Like, and again, I'm blanking on all the names of the characters now because it's been a little while, but the chubby guy who's kind of a nerd and kind of useless until you end up finding out that he's an amazing marksman, you know, and he gets that gas powered nail gun and then eventually gets access to the guns. It's like, yeah, man, that was one of my favorite characters. He was awesome. You know, and you got the standoffish, what was her name? Psycho or something like that, who was really good, who was, you know, like in the extracurricular katana clubs or whatever. Was good. Arcade Burns, yeah, you're talking about the manga. Yeah, I might check the manga out because they actually did, the story progresses past the anime because again, the guy who did the manga passed away. But $5 Arcade Burns, thank you. Says, I love the High School of the Dead manga, hated the anime. If you want a great zombie 12 ep anime that does something different, watch School Live. School Live, is that related to High School of the Dead? I don't know. I don't know. Andre for $20. My goodness, thank you, sir. Appreciate that super chat. Says, do you skip the theme songs? Even though I don't know much Japanese, I love the catchy music that pumps you up before the show. I miss that in some new cartoons that don't have intro theme songs. That's it. I'm glad you brought that up. That would pump you up. No, I'm really glad you brought that up because I love the music in My Hero Academia and Naruto. Oh man, talk about pumping you up. I totally know what you mean. The music is great. I even went on Amazon and tried to find some of the songs. Again, I don't speak Japanese. I don't know what they're saying. Well, some of them you can find English versions, or you can at least see subtitles, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I love some of that music too. Man, it's so good. I didn't know that the new anime doesn't have that. That's a real bummer. So yeah, to answer your question, do I watch the intros? I do. You know, well, I like watching them, but sometimes if you click skip intro, if you don't click skip intro at the beginning, you end up having to sit through, you know, for Naruto, like 15 minutes of recap. Sorry, hit the mic there. But yeah, I do love some of those intros. Some of those are great. Some of the ending credit songs on Naruto get a little suspect. Like, what? But yeah, man, those they do get you pumped up. The soundtracks are awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. Archieburn says, no, it's not related to High School of the Dead. It uses a different language of storytelling than crazy gore-tastic edge. Yeah, maybe that's one of the things why, because I usually don't like zombie apocalypse type stories. I don't appreciate gore. I don't get sick when I see it. It's not like, oh, I'm offended. You know, you put gore and blood. It's not that. I just, is there a reason for it? You know, that's why, like, I'm kind of conflicted on High School of the Dead because the story was actually really good, but like the gratuitous character designs and stuff, it just like it didn't fit. Like, what is that about? But the story was great and the character development was great. But because it was an anime, any blood or whatever that you saw from the zombies, like they can show a shower of blood, but because it's animated, it didn't have the same visceral effect as live would. Plus, all they really would show is blood. You're not seeing like, viscera of bodies or fluids or whatever, it's not like that crazy gore fest or anything like that. But yeah, just really appreciated the story. The sort of the reluctant hero, and again, I'm blanking on the names, but the guy who's sort of the jilted, his girlfriend broke up with him at first, and he's kind of moping about that, how he just kind of comes to the front and becomes this hero. I definitely want to read the rest of those mangas as far as it got, to at least get farther into the story, because it had some characters that were just really great. Oh my gosh. And of course, me as a father, just breaking my heart when that poor girl, her father's trying to protect her. Apparently her mother's already been eaten by a zombie or whatever. Her father's trying his best to protect her. And these jerks won't let him in the house. They're like, no, we can't let any more in, or we won't be able to survive. And they actually stab him right there in front of his. Oh, it was just heart wrenching. But the fact that the two guy characters, the two teenagers who were watching from afar, they were kind of tucked off in a nice little hiding place. They weren't going to have that. They were not going to let that little girl be there defenseless, So they very heroic rescue that I just thought was amazing. I thought it was so wonderful. Really endeared me to those characters, that they pull off this rescue of this little girl, and they give her this little family to carry with them. She's got a puppy too, which is kind of random but fun. Yeah, it was great. It was fun. Maybe I'm naive, and because I don't watch a lot of zombie apocalypse stuff, maybe some of those themes that I really thought was cool there are kind of par for the course. I don't know, but it was good. What other anime? I think that's all. Now I am about to. Someone said in a comment the other day, I can't remember who or on what video it was, but they asked if I have to stick to one anime show at a time. And yes and no. I don't think I could just stick to watching Naruto, because I've got so many episodes. So, there's so much for me to watch of it. I don't think I could just interest-wise stick to just that and not watch something else. But at the same time, I couldn't watch too many other things at the same time. So I try to have at least one good, fun, shonen style anime that I prefer going, if not two, like I am watching My Hero Academia at the same time, bouncing between that and Naruto. But some of that's rewatches, I'm just enjoying it. I know the deal. And at least one, non-shonen, was it Sign In or something like that? I might go back now and, because I never finished Standalone Complex, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. I got through the first season and loved it. Oh my gosh, loved it. I have the second season, but I never watched it. And some other stuff they did. They did a remake series of it or whatever. It's hard too. It's hard trying to follow all the stuff when you get into a series, because not all of it. Like I found a really cool package of My Hero Academia that actually has the OVAs, in it, that you like from season 1 that you can't really find again. I think Crunchyroll's airing like season 5 OVAs or something, but some of the things that gets produced is kind of hard to watch the series in completion in the US if you're behind on it, like I am. But it's fun. Arcade Mers, all Naruto and no variety makes Professor Geek go something. Yeah, I mean, I love Naruto. I'm not saying it's boring to watch it only alone, but I want I want some other things too. And for a while there, I was just watching. I watched Naruto, and then I was watching some other things so I could come back and do the video catch ups on it. And I was kind of missing Naruto. I was telling Sound Engraver when the night I finally got around to just sitting back and catching the next season of Naruto. I was like, it's so good to be back. It's so good to be back. And I never thought I'd like the show like that, but man, I do. It's so great. Naruto's heart, Rock Lee, what a great character. I've gotten to the part now where the Sand Village trio has come back, as allies, because they were duped as well. They kind of owed a debt. And as much as you want to see Gaara, beat the Bone Freak guy, I still can't quite forget Gaara and all the garbage that he was saying when he was letting the demon overtake him or whatever. But I don't know. We'll see what they do with the character. Got some super chats here. Let me get to these. Andre Hernandez says, I meant new American Oh, I'm sorry. I misread your comment. So you mean the new American cartoons that don't have it? Yeah. No catchy songs like He-Man or Transformers. New anime still have catchy theme songs. Music. Okay, cool. Naruto Sadness and Sorrow, and My Hero Academia. You say Run soundtrack really hits you. Yeah, it does, especially if you've watched the shows, and you know this too. But if you've watched the shows and you've associated that music or that sound or those particular theme songs or whatever with the stories, when you hear them later, it just brings back all the feelings that hit you from the stories. It was really great. Yeah, thanks for that. Appreciate the super chat. Matthew Flynn, Gladiator of Kaun. 5 pounds. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Shonen anime is great. Really want to hear you talk about Dragon Ball, but I'm willing to wait until you're ready. Yeah, I will say this: Dragon Ball used to be completely off the table for me. It just looked too weird, and I still don't like the anime style, especially with a lot of the shonen stuff. Where everything's so overreactive and just I still don't like that. But with watching it, I'm better at ignoring it to get the wonderful story. I'm better at ignoring some of that in My Hero Academia or whatever, just to get the wonderful, glorious story. That's the thing for me. Like some people, it's about aesthetic. Some people, it's about, because I've known some people who are just animation fans in general, and they are, if the character designs don't look good, they don't care how good the story is. They can't watch it. And I get that. I really do. I get that. For me, I'm the opposite. The story has to be good. You can have the most beautiful art in the world, or the most wonderful cinematography, or the score, or whatever. If the story's crap, I don't care how good all that other stuff is. I'm not watching it. I just know the story for me is primary. So that's why I can overlook some stuff, in the art or the stylings or whatever, as long as the story's there. Whether it's My Hero Academia or High School of the Dead. Yeah, Sound Engraver talking about Chrono Trigger. Yeah, Sound Engraver has been going through all of the Final Fantasy games in order, and she finished up with Final Fantasy 6. Was it 6 or 7 that you finished? I forget. Numbers bad with numbers, But she moved on to Chrono Trigger, and Chrono Trigger is really solid. I'm really enjoying that. I'm not playing it; she's watching it, but I watch her play through it, and it's cool story. I like the character designs. I like the story so far. It's pretty cool. She finished Final Fantasy 6, then went into that. Gotcha. Wolftown Media talking about, how can you say that in your face about exaggeration anime when you've watched American cartoons? No, you're absolutely right. Current day American cartoons are ridiculous, but I think they're actually they're an example of an influence I'd rather have them not take from anime. When I think American cartoons, I don't really watch modern American cartoons at all. Ugh. When I think American cartoons, I'm thinking He-Man, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, that kind of stuff. And you didn't have that there at all. No, I mean, it's a cartoon, so you might have somebody throw a tantrum or something like that. And that's not really what I'm talking about. I can have that in anime. That's fine. I mean, like when Deku is so excited that he won, that one round of the Olympics there at his school or whatever, and he cries. Okay, I can believe that. I really don't want to see him throw his head back and see geysers of tears fly out of his eyes, like and see his face like contort into a different animal. Like, that's stupid. Stop it. It just takes me out. Takes me out of the. And hey, it's a style, whatever. Like I said, I'm used to looking over it. Just if the story's good, I can overlook it, to a certain degree. But yeah, Looney Tunes and Tex Avery. Well, that's kind of different though, right? I mean, it's a good point. Like, yeah, Tex Avery, like, the Cinderella, the big bad wolf, and Auga, and the eyes going out of his head. That's the level of story that is, though. It is that kind of goofy, overly dramatic, exaggerated story. It's not, I mean, what kind of serious story is that? The big bad wolf from Little Red Riding Hood sees Cinderella and gets the hots for her and goes to a nightclub and watches her perform or whatever, silly little, whatever. It's not really trying to tell a serious story with all that in it. But I understand what you're saying. Point there. Yeah, I agree, Leia. Plus size, the 80s classic cartoons. Yeah, Sound Engraver hasn't seen a lot of those, and we watched all of He-Man, and she loved it. Just, so good. We're almost done with Thundercats now. I don't know. I think she wanted to move on to Batman the Animated Series next, because she's never watched all of those. So we'll probably move on to that next. But yeah, there's just a wealth of things. I really like the old G.I. Joe cartoons. I never watched Transformers. I know Matthew Flynn's a big Transformers fan, but I do own this first season now. I am going to give it a chance. It's not because I don't like the story. Like I'm sure I will like the story. In fact, it's the same era. It's the same time. don't know what it is. Just looking at machines doesn't hold my visual interest. But if the story's good and I can overlook that, fine. That's why I don't like heroes that wear helmets or anime. So a lot of people like recommend this or that anime, and it's just a character in a helmet. I'm like, you can't emote through a helmet. At least the Spider-Man cartoons have him emote with the mask and the eyes and stuff like that. But that's why the Power Rangers never did it for me as a kid. Nothing against it, but just like, it's a big static mask on your head. I can't see anything to empathize with you as a character or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, Voltron. I like Voltron as a child. I have to catch up on some of that as well. 11:20. Oh wow, it's 11:24. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up here, guys. One last. Oh yeah, talking sound engraver there. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to watch. I think Trigun is close to my on my watch list. At some point here again, I am going to try to finish up Standalone Complex because I loved it so much. Yeah, hearing about a lot of things, but I got to finish up what I'm on. I don't like leaving things undone. I did leave everything undone when I kind of walked away from anime because I just got so sick of the culture for a while. Oh, one thing I do need to show you before. Oh man, before I go, I'm gonna drop a link in the chat. I showed Sound Engraver this. I don't know if you guys heard of he's a YouTuber. What's his name? Long Beach Griffey, I think is his name. He's pretty funny. His videos can get a little profane in terms of language, but he's an anime fan. But he's got these videos that just peg anime fans perfectly. Like when you're trying to talk, or when an anime fan's trying to recommend something to you, or dude, you're watching that? Oh man, just wait, man, just wait. Did you watch season 2 yet, man? Oh, you gotta watch season 2, man. Just wait. Shut up. Let me watch it. Let me enjoy it at my pace. But did you read the manga? You gotta read the manga, man. You gotta read the manga. He's like, I'm not reading the manga. And guy's like, but you can do both. Oh man. Oh, here's one. This is I'll put the link in the chat. It's so funny. And he himself is a huge anime fan. So it's not like he's just, making fun of other people or something, but he's got part of the community pegged, that's for sure. Put it here. He's got some other videos in anime too, but you can enjoy that. It's your pleasure. Yeah, so again, I want to wrap this up because I don't want to go all night. It's my first night. Saturday nights are my first night off of the week when I've had Alyssa for quite a few days, and she's had some illnesses, or not illnesses. She's fine, but she's had some sickness, stuff like that. Taking care of has been a rather harrowing part of the week. Good week, but part of the week. So it's nice to have my nights and a few nights here to relax. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'll wrap up. I don't mean to be abrupt. I know a lot of people have been chatting, and I appreciate that. And I see my name tagged a lot, but it's too many of you for me to, the chat's been going too fast for me to really get in and read everything. I'll be here for hours, But I do see another super chat from Arcade Burns. Do have to read those. Appreciate those. $10 said, love Transformers 84 as a kid, but doesn't stand the test of time. If you don't like it, I recommend jumping to Beast Wars, made by the people who did Reboot. Beast Wars is a Transformers. I know there have been some different takes or different reboots of Transformers. I think I'll probably like the original 84 because I love that style, that era of cartoons. I just never got into it as a kid because I'm like, it's a car, it's a robot, whatever. Give me He-Man. Give me like a fantasy hero with muscles and swords and I want to see the car out in the driveway. Like I was never that kid into cars or machines. That just wasn't my thing. That's why I never got into it as a kid. But I think being another heroic cartoon from that era, I would probably enjoy the story. So Beast Wars is top tier. Yeah, a lot of people are saying Beast Wars. Okay, yeah. I like to watch the 84 series first though, but yeah, I can get to that down the line one day. What is this one? Inspiration of Heroes video one day. Picks the heroes are Batman, Superman, Warrior of Light. No, I did a Batman and Superman Inspiration of Heroes. They're on the list there. Batman was the Arkham Origins game, and Superman was the Birthright comic. I'm pretty sure they're still there. I did them at one point. I'm pretty sure they're still there in the list. So, all right, folks. Well, thank you guys for coming out for a very impromptu stream. Like I said, didn't even schedule it more than a few minutes ahead. Didn't talk about it at all, but just wanted to get all this done. I will probably cut some stuff out of it. to make my own video, or to make individual videos. We'll see how that goes. And I'm gonna keep watching these anime shows that I like. So as I get time, I'll come back and update on different things like that. Maybe do another stream if time wise. Because I'm teaching more classes this semester than I usually teach, so it's going to be a little more harrowing grading and lesson planning and whatnot. But I'll be back for it. So thank you guys, appreciate that. Appreciate you hanging out, and hopefully I'll be on there. Yeah, let me plug Sound Engraver's channel. Sorry about that. Sound Engraver's channel, Monday night. She does a she used to call it Monday Night Muse, which I think she should go back to calling it, because it was such a great title, and it's so fitting. Her channel she does a lot of music and sound Super Collider demos and whatnot, but on Monday night she talks about art in general, and she has some great thoughts on that. And I'll have to plug her video and some of the breakout videos I make from the stream, because she's got some that are pretty appropriate to some of the things I talked about, like culture changing and stuff like that. 9:30 p.m. is when she does those. And actually, let me just I know most of you here, like from the community, you know Sound Engraver, and you've been there and whatnot. But just for people who might watch this later, or people watching now who don't know my dear girlfriend Sound Engraver, put the link to her channel here and check out those Monday night streams. She's had a lot of them on culture, whether it's Lord of the Rings stuff or Star Wars stuff or whatever. Really good stuff. So put the link to the chat in there. To her channel in the chat. Okay, Burns, where do we go to learn of new shows and programs these days? It's just random chance for me now. Great to see you again. Yeah, I feel your pain, man. I don't know. There's no general median of quality that's being pumped out. It's like the rule is garbage. The exceptions are the good stuff, here and there. So, man, I don't know. Good question. I'll think about it. If you got an answer, let me know. Other than indie creators or creators that you've seen some of their stuff and there's good stuff there. I'm talking about series, television series and stuff like that. So who knows? All right. Well, my voice is starting to scratch up a little bit. So I'm going to close this up. But thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys coming out for an impromptu. And see you next time I do this. Until next time, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the hero stories you love. Thanks for watching.